Hi Amy, it's really nice to catch up with you today for our fifth Rethink Places podcast. Loads happening this month because it's National Care Leavers Month. So I'm hoping we can talk about that today and how Rethink Places and the work that you and the community are doing is supporting that.
Yeah, lovely to see you too. It is really nice to be talking in this month, and it's when we started to build the community on Rethink, we always knew that there was going to potentially be this move for National Care Leavers Week to become month this year. And I think that's testament to now the number of people that are just talking about issues around care leavers and who want to create a difference in the world in relation to that. So I think it's great that it's become a whole month, and we're seeing it on things like Channel 4 promoting, and lots of the people on the Rethink community are also actively involved in running events this month as well.
And the theme is really striking. So, rising as me, overcoming challenges, transforming and finding your identity. That strikes me with the work that you're doing on the community. A lot of the transforming sort of ideas and concepts around how you can support care leavers is absolutely what Rethink Places is all about. What's happening in that space?
I also love the whole rising as me as a theme, and that has come from those with care experience themselves. So they came up with that theme, and that whole thing around what does it mean to find your identity, I think connects to so many parts of what the Rethink Places community are talking about. So whether that be around housing, and housing as a kind of a baseline for enabling other things to happen in life, whether it's about connecting as a community, and finding your purpose within that, and then also into employment or further studies, and having kind of opportunity. And I think underpinning all of that, we've always talked about in the community hearing the voices and the lived experiences of those, who are care experienced. And so all of that kind of comes together in what Rethink Places is all about. Huge amount of synergy. Organisations like Become, who are part of the community, are really actively involved in this month, and really just shining a light on all of the great work that's going on out there.
And we talked previously about the work you're commissioning with Participation People, and
Yes.
that is about that active listening, isn't it? Bringing those voices of care experienced young people into the community so they are front and centre of the conversation, ideas that can actually make improvements. Have you got any further with that piece of work?
Yeah, so that work's going really well. So whilst some of this kind of came from Rethink, we're looking at this now through the lens of what my work is at Magna Housing. And so our view is that we want to hear from the young people that live in our homes, some of which live with parents who are our customers or tenants, and some of which are actually our tenants directly, so young people who have their own tenancy. So we've been advertising for any of those young people who want to come and kind of share their voices and views. We're incentivising them to do that, and we've now got over 30 young people signed up. And so now we're just talking about how we're going to bring them together to have those conversations. It's a piece of work we're so excited about because it certainly feels like if their voice was there in amongst our kind of feedback that comes from customers, it's not coming through loud and clear.
Yeah,
And I doubt that we've probably offered the right ways for them
yeah.
to be able to kind of amplify their voices into what we do in housing. And it's so important because not only are they living in our houses now, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a lot of views about what their communities and what their homes should look
Yeah.
like as they progress through life. So it's a really important piece of work, and it's really important that we hear that so that it shapes our strategies and our plans as we move forward. And we want to share that with the rest of the Rethink community as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic and quite groundbreaking that you've got so many. So to put it into context, 30 young voices is quite unusual for a housing association per se to attract. Do you put that success of that engagement and attraction through the work that you're doing with participation people through Rethink Places?
Completely. So I mean, anyone who follows participation, they share some really good resources and insight around doing youth engagement well.
Yeah.
So they are real experts in this, and that is informed by young people in themselves as well.
Yeah.
None of our kind of existing channels, like I say, probably lend themselves to how young people want to share their voice. So participation people have really helped us think about the design of adverts, the thought about incentives, and what we'll actually do next in terms of talking to young people and bringing their voices. And I think the most important thing that they will say to us all the time is that you have to do this with integrity and intent, that and the letting go. I think I've talked about this before, but the letting go of kind of power and letting go of your own preconceptions and almost unlearning to be able to really learn from young people.
And some of the things that are being featured this month in National Care Leavers Month, it's about celebrating care leavers and care experienced individuals, amplify their voices, which we've talked about a little bit, and raising awareness of challenges. And I know Tiffany, the Rethink Places community manager, has just recently done a fantastic podcast with Lamar Mosen that's been shared with your community members. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Lamar is one of our community members who has care experience. She's incredibly inspirational, and she is really driving for policy change for care leavers, both to be placed near to where they have grown up and also for mandatory sibling contact as part of policy. She's incredibly inspiring and motivational, and it's great to have her as part of the community because, again, it always drives us back to hearing voices that help shape our conversations and making sure that lived experience comes through. So yes, it's great that we've been able to shine a spotlight on her story and experience, but also to get behind her and the work that she's doing.
And I guess then through your community, that work has been amplified, if you like. You've got more people aware of it, and I guess the likelihood then of you as a community working on projects that drive greater impact has increased as a result of that community sharing and understanding.
I think the impact becomes greater, but the understanding becomes deeper. And I think
Yeah.
each story that you hear, there's another unique perspective, or you think it's unique, but actually it's probably a subset of when you think about the care leaver experience that then comes to the fore. So it might not be that we think, or maybe we might assume that sibling contact would, of course, be part of the way that care is set up, but it's not the case. So it brings incredible insight into what you're doing and just makes everyone more informed. Yeah, and we all know the power of stories for doing that as well. And this is just another great example of that.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing that, because that is, as it says on the tin, amplifying the voices of those young people, which I'm sure everybody wants to hear, which is fantastic. And then finally, you've got loads of activity, loads of insights, loads of snippets that yourself, Tiffany, the Rethink community are going to be sharing during National Care Leavers Month. So I'm sure we'll look forward to seeing those as you share them, I guess, on LinkedIn. And
we'll share that. And also, I'm really looking forward this weekend. The TEDx talks come to Bristol, which is where I live. Roxroy Fearon, who's going to talk about reimagining the care experience again. So really looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. And hopefully we can bring him into the Rethink community as well at some point.
So are you looking for new community members now to join the conversation?
Yeah, definitely. So this is an evolving community, really interested in anyone who wants to play their part, join the community, has a vested interest in the subjects that we've been talking about. Absolutely. Please feel free to message myself or Tiffany, who's our community manager, and yeah, we'll be in touch with you.
Fantastic. Look forward to hearing about that. See you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.